Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of Referral Exchange Networking's Business Success Fertilizer application. We know it always isn't easy to compete with companies that are bigger than you and have greater resources. However, one advantage you can have is you can always be smarter than they are. No one can tell you how much you can learn and how much of an expert and an asset you can be. That's why education is critical for small businesses. And that's why we at Referral Exchange strive to make you just a little smarter every week. So let's get right to it. This week, we're talking about mediocrity or excellence, and the choice is yours. If we look back, say, on what we've accomplished for the years, truth be told, we can most likely apply the Pareto Principle to our careers. As many of you know, the Pareto Principle states that 20% of the efforts, resources, attention, activity, customers, or products will account for 80% of the results. The theory, first postulated by an Italian mathematician, has been thoroughly studied and shown to hold true time and time again. This 80-20 ratio will vary from person to person, sometimes being as high as 90-10 or as low as 60-40, but on average, 80-20 seems to be the sweet spot where most of us land. Now, speaking for myself, I must admit that more often than I'd like, I have unwittingly applied the Pareto Principle to my own work, especially when the assignments and commitments start piling up and the metaphorical stack of paper on the mental desk in my head gets taller and taller. It's at those times when I'm tempted to start cutting corners and apply the governmental principle of good enough. We justify good enough by telling ourselves no one will notice, or even worse, no one will care. The latter begging the question, if no one will care, why are you doing it? If you're applying your valuable and limited time to something like that, just for the sake of getting paid, well, that's a topic for another time. The bottom line is that due to pressure, real or self-made, we continue to put more and more on our plates until priorities become completely muddled and nothing is clear. I was recently reading The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan, subtitled The Surprisingly Simple Truth Behind Extraordinary Results. They've written an entire book on the principle of doing one thing at a time, which, as research has demonstrated, is the only way we should be working. We've talked about the myth of multitasking before, so we won't dwell on it, except to say that it doesn't work. As expressed by Steve Zissou, author of Chance Favors the Prepared, multitasking is merely the opportunity to screw up more than one thing at a time. In The One Thing, the authors explain that doing one thing at a time is the most important skill you can master to achieve success. They explain that success is sequential, not simultaneous. It is created by doing one thing at a time until success is inevitable. They liken it to dominoes, in that once you topple the first one, that in turn topples the next one, etc. An interesting fact of dominoes is that each domino can topple another one, even if it's half again as big. In other words, not only is success sequential, it's also geometric. It builds on itself. As explained by the authors, it starts out too slow to notice until it's moving too fast to stop, which obviously leaves the question, what is the one thing I should be doing? To discover this, we need to ask what matters most for my business. Once we've answered that question, ask it again and again until you've focused in on the one thing you should be doing. Don't allow yourself to be distracted by anything else. Once you've drilled down to the one thing, then do it. Once you've toppled this first domino, ask yourself, what's the next one thing? Doing the most important thing is always the most important thing. We need to stop being busy and start being focused. When we focused on the one thing we should be doing, success will follow. As the authors say, find the lead domino and whack away at it until it falls. Well, that's it for this week. I hope you got something out of it. If you'd like to talk about anything you just heard or would like to know about how you can grow your business by joining a referral exchange networking chapter, or even how to start your own chapter, reach out to me at raustin@referralexchangenetworking.com. That's exchange with an X. And I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got something out of it. And I'll see you next week. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.